Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting of 13 October 2015. Just a few announcements before we begin. One, we're still looking for a coordinator for our annual luminarium. That's the event Sunday evening before Christmas. If available or interested, please contact your town administrator. A reminder to staff, the Capital Improvement Planning Commission, as well as the Community Preservation Commission inputs are due the 1st of December. Smith Academy Homecoming is scheduled for October 17th. There'll be an award presentation at 8:45 in front of the Smith Academy. The parade kickoff at 9:15. Soccer games, boys and girls against Hopkins, and a field hockey game against Agawam that day. So a lot of activity, and please show your support. And one piece of good news, or another piece of good news, I guess, regarding Selectman Moriarty. The Massachusetts Association of School Committees will honor Mr. Moriarty on November 6th with a Life Member Leadership Award for his efforts on behalf of Hatfield students, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you. It always takes a team to get things accomplished, but I am humbled by the award I'm receiving, so
Very
thank
nice.
you.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
Public forum? No public forum. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of 8 September
So moved.
2015?
I'll second on
Second.
that. I did second.
Okay, any
Yeah.
other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to accept the minutes of August 25th, 2015.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we table that until I have to discuss it with Marlene, the timing on it, okay? She has no idea what I'm talking about. That's all right. Take you off the hook. But I would appreciate that very much.
All right, withdraw my motion.
Okay, is there anything in the minutes that need to be recorded or referred to anyone else? I mean, we're not holding anything up by,
Best of my knowledge, no, but I wouldn't swear to that.
I guess what I'm saying is, did we approve something here that someone's going to be held up on if we continue to delay approval?
I don't see any.
Don't believe so.
Okay. All right. Is there a second on tabling?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
You're welcome.
First order of business, Selectmen's representative to the Teachers Association negotiations. We've had some discussion about this before. Do you want to talk to it again?
Yeah, well, I've been chosen by the school committee to be one of their two representatives to negotiate the teachers' union contract, excuse me, which expires next spring, but the process of beginning negotiations usually begins, winter or after the first of the year. So because of that, I would suggest that we not have another member of the Board of Selectmen as part of that negotiation committee, just to avoid any sort of apparent conflict that there's a majority of the Board of Selectmen on this particular negotiation committee. So I'd like to see a member of the finance, well, my recommendation would be to, and I can make it in a form of a motion eventually, but I think it would make sense to have a representative from the finance committee, if one of them would like to do it, be part of that negotiation committee.
I absolutely concur. We've got to, putting another one of us on there creates a majority, and I'm not sure that's in the best interest of everyone. Not anything necessarily negative is going to happen, but it's not the best scenario in the world from my point of view. And I think Brian is fine where, you know, as he's situated, and we don't need another member of the board on there. Ideally, as he pointed out, and I must admit I do concur, that a member of the Finance Committee, I think, would be very appropriate as the board's representative, so to speak. I don't know if any of them is necessarily interested, and I don't want to presume to speak for them. But that being said, I think that would be a good move. We still have a keen interest in the whole process through Brian and also through the representative of the Finance Committee. So that would be my recommendation then.
Well, there's two pieces here. One regarding
Excuse me.
two representatives of the Board of Selectmen, and Mr. Moriarty's there as a school committee representative, not as a member, not in his hat as a Board of Selectmen, but if it's perceived as such, in any event, there needs to be a strong presence there, particularly with respect to the financial matters, and to speak to those. With regard to the Finance Committee, we have a bylaw, 1.06, which would prohibit a member of the Finance Committee from serving. So we'd really need to be thinking about beyond the Finance Committee.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
But,
Thank you.
But if you want, can we wait one more time
Yeah,
and come
yeah,
up with
yeah,
a name?
Sure.
I think that's fine.
That's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, you recall a couple of years back, the bylaw was changed to prohibit Finance Committee members from serving on any other board, committee, or commission or whatever, unless there's a specific charter that calls for a representative of the Finance Committee on that particular board. So we need to look a little broader than the Finance Committee, but someone that really needs to understand where we are financially
Right.
and be able to,
That was simply a recommendation, but I'm sure there's plenty of people that would be willing to and have the background to serve. And then maybe after our meeting tonight, I can get a copy of that bylaw,
sure.
because I wasn't aware of that either.
Same. I wasn't aware of it. No.
Got one in my briefcase. Be glad to make a copy.
So yeah, it's fine. They haven't kicked off the dates yet.
Yeah, okay.
Haven't been.
So we'll table this for the moment, and
That's
we'll all go back
okay
and
with
try
me.
and think of potential townsfolk that might be appropriate to serve. Next item, yes,
If
sir.
I just might add that if there is anyone amongst townspeople who would be interested in serving on this committee, it would be great if you took the time to call one of us, and we'll certainly transfer that information to Marlene, and then she can disseminate that to all of us and keep the channel in place, so to speak. And that should work out well, hopefully.
Next item's a one-day liquor license and bonfire approval. This with respect to the Hatfield Fire Association, and speak to that, Mr. Stephen Gahn.
Yeah, just very quickly, it's, so in general principle, the chief and the deputies are not really active in the association, just to be clear on that. But Chief Belden and I have been serving on a committee, on this concert to develop this event for many months now. And one of the things that goes on is obviously it's a very joint effort. There's the police association, the fire association, so a number of community members and businesses. It's a very much a community event. But one of the things that happened this year is that obviously it's a liquor license request is made. The fire association has a hand in securing the insurance. That's part of their thing. In the past, the police association had, and this year was a fire, kind of rotate things around. Well, one of the things we ran into this year was that the police association pays for things with credit cards, and the fire association writes checks. So in fact, this insurance has been secured, but the fire association sent the paperwork in via mail instead of by a fax machine, so it delayed it for a week. It will be, I'm told that it would be in hand tomorrow or the next day. But obviously this is your last meeting. So, you know, we're lining up for the event. Obviously it's Saturday, so I wanted to make sure that there was no question here. Obviously, you as the board, can issue directive to the police, the police department, and in fact the fire chief, that these events don't take place, and so you can set parameters on an event. And I would ask that you grant the permit tonight, with the parameters that the insurance certificate be delivered to Marlene or Key, by Friday. And obviously, if it's not in hand, then you have the right to use the parameters. If it's not in hand, then therefore the event doesn't kick off. That's true about any liquor license you set. You can set parameters on liquor licenses. We obviously, that's basically the bottom line to that, is that we got delayed because, well, we used the US mail instead of the fax machine. It is a thing. It's a, you know, there's always little bumps in the road in an event that has this many community organizations working on it. But aside from that, just a quick, you know, overview of it in terms of dealing with a liquor license. There's, we expect, there's less tickets than last year. We cut the size a little bit by a few. They've instituted actually more security than last year. There's more public safety. There's emergency operation plan, and all that stuff is in place. There's actually more stuff in place, basically, more plan in place, more restrictions, in fact, you know, more safety measures, stop gaps to prevent anything poor from happening. So it seems like it should be a good event, the weather, everything. But that's obviously a bump in the road we ran into, and Key has been very good, and Marlene, and I just wanted to come and make sure that you understood that we knew the parameters. These guys, the guys know the parameters, the event people know the parameters.
How many people do you expect?
We expect 1,800.
Great.
Is the number? Well, it's 1,800 is the tickets. So you know, lots of people buy tickets don't come. And then in fact, there's actually a strong number that come and don't drink. And so we actually expect about 1,500 of people that would be drinking. Last pour. Last time they're going to pour is 9:30. It's posted. It'll be posted throughout the event when they come in, when they buy tickets and all that. There's not be a drink poured after 9:30. They obviously have the right to drink them until 10. It's over. The event's supposed to end about 10. They should be, all the patron people should be off the premise by 11. Clearly, there's a cleanup plan in place with a landscaping company and a number of volunteers and local businesses and trash, and it should be pristine. So, but no, not another drink poured after 9:30.
Okay. And for folks, this is an event that's occurred the last few years.
It's occurred 5 years, and it benefits the local
There's been a
police.
donation made to both the Fire Association and Police Association. I think last year was $35,000.
Yeah, it's about half that. So they split, the association split that, and we purchased things that are very tough. The Fire Association, in fact, spent $10,000 on an airbag lift system that we used to have 20 years ago. And 10 years ago, it was outdated and we couldn't safely use it again anymore. We had to discard it, and we now have a lift system, and we only use it once every 2 years. But I'll tell you something, when you need to lift heavy machinery or vehicle, it's a lifesaver. So we do stuff that's the fire department does with their portion, things
Well,
like
it's
that.
entertainment, but there's a payback to the.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much a community
town.
event. There's some really good business. The local businesses are involved. There's a lot of people involved. It's great.
Okay, good. Is there a motion to approve application for a 3-day liquor license subject to submission of evidence of a liability insurance to the Hatfield Fire Association for a wine and malt license for a function to be held at the Lions Pavilion on Saturday, October 17th, 2015, with sale from 6 to 9:30 p.m.
Can I check with Marlene on something?
Surely.
Okay. Marlene, there is no financial type of situation associated with me on this. I can vote with the rest. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
And I'm not
Just wanted to be sure.
So I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Second. Any other discussion on it?
No, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, the second item that we need to do,
The bonfire.
the
So
bonfire, is there a motion per Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 111, Section 142H, to authorize the Hatfield Fire Department to conduct a ceremonial bonfire on 17 October 2015 at the Lions Club Pavilion?
So move.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
excellent.
Aye.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Great. Thank
Thanks,
you. Have a good night.
Stephen. Yeah.
Good event.
Thank
Good
you,
luck.
Steve.
Phil?
Okay, we'll just start with topic 3, the water improvement project. Ludlow Construction was the awarded contractor. They have mobilized some equipment there yesterday and today. The pipe is coming tomorrow, and then they're gonna start fusing it together on the 19th. So once the pipe's all fused together to go under 91, they will be setting up the drill pits and starting indirectional drill underneath 91. So that project is moving forward. We're all glad to see that happening.
And what we're talking about is taking the water line, new transmission line from Route 5 and 10, under 91, under the railroad, over to the Brockway Smith area. This segment, okay.
The next one is the Main Street sidewalks improvement. This project is going from in front of Town Hall to North Street, and then on the other side to Ferry Street, Ferry Road. We had our pre-construction meeting last week with the contractor and the site engineers. The project will be beginning November 1st at the latest. We will start by the market and work our way down. We're going to do it in 1,000 feet increments due to the weather conditions. So we're going to take the first 1,000 feet, tear up the old sidewalk and pour the new ones. And as we go, if the weather permits, we're going to keep going as long as the weather holds up.
Okay. You recall, we did have an issue with the Department of Housing and Community Development. They've got some, they've sent us a letter saying it's all been approved, but we're waiting on some contract pages to appear this week that need to go into the contract to be signed off on by the secretary. But in any event, they've committed that they've approved it, so finally got the green light.
Are there any built-in clauses to protect the town in the event of a penalty or that type of thing, specific to the contractor? You know, time frame wise, other than normal conditions or
The contract with the extension through Mass Works runs to June of 16.
16, okay.
So-
Next year, we got
Yep.
the whole
Yeah,
next spring too.
So
yeah.
we
Some
should be-
contractors can use that and others use it effectively, and others might play a little game.
Hopefully the weather will hold up so we can
Yeah.
get some of it in anyways. The bricks at Elm Court, we took a good chunk out of them last week. We found a place for half of them, I would say. There's probably still half of them down there, so now we're going to do a little more researching and see if we can get rid of the rest of them. It went well. I mean, our trucks hauled them and brought them to a local crusher who had a permit for 3 days. Like I initially told you, that the price was $4,000 to $5,000 to get rid of the pile, and it's probably $1,500 only what we took out, so we got a pretty good deal on the crusher, so.
Okay.
And the last thing is the Prospects Court Bridge Plan. Been in contact with Steer Engineering, who's the engineers for the pedestrian bridge over by the old mill. There was some questions about the structure, about the rocks underneath the water. They did do an underwater survey. It seems like it's very minor, and the last email that just came through today was that it seems like the project can move forward to support a pedestrian bridge and that it will stay within budget. So we're going to move forward. We'll see what the next phase is going to be as far as the plans of who's going to do it and put it out to bid, I would imagine. So we're moving forward on that.
Okay. You got a new individual, Mr. Phillips?
Yes, Adam Phillips was hired as a mechanic, laborer, equipment operator in the department. He started 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Great.
And, seems to be going well, so.
And again, I mentioned Community Preservation Committee and CIPC submissions 1 December. We've got the town hall next phase and potential design for phase 3, so, and a bunch of other things, so let's get it in there. Town administrator?
Just for the Selectmen's information, I attended recently actually, they were both in the same week, or same day. I attended Division of Local Services, as did Jeff, Division of Local Services, What's New in Municipal Law. It was an all-day seminar, and then I attended the Hampshire Council of Governments workshop that evening. on budgeting for capital plans. So both were very interesting and came away with some valuable information. So yes, those were very good. Just to follow up on the Hampshire Council of Governments petition that was filed on behalf of a number of communities, I provided you with a copy of the Hampshire Council of Governments rebuttal to the decision. Basically, there's a number of discrepancies in what actually occurred at the evidentiary hearing and what is stated in the Department of Public Utilities decision. And the Hampshire Council of Governments has decided not to appeal that decision. It would be very costly to do that. But they have recommended to communities to seek, aggregation, electric aggregation plans independently. So we can revisit that at another time. In your packet is,
Excuse me, could I just ask a question about that? So they want the individual towns to now go out on their own, or will they still be a representative helping the
they won't,
towns
they're going
on
to
a-
stick strictly to the municipal aggregation program that they offer to municipalities,
Gotcha.
but not to, customers
breakaway
within the
type
town.
thing?
Right,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. The next item is an update to the human resource policies, and I am recommending some changes. I'm starting with section 12, but in looking through documents available in the office, I've come across several versions, and I'm not sure that the version that's on the computer is what I need to be working with. I am more comfortable going back to the beginning. I hate to say that, but I really like to go back to the start of the HR policy and move forward. There are different versions with changes in my office for sections that have already been looked at. It's just not clear to me, and those changes are not reflected in the version on the computer that I'm working with. So I'd like to start from Article 1.
Yeah, I mean, whatever,
Section
for me, I would say whatever makes sense for you, Marlene. I think that the changes you probably don't see, because as we were going through them, we never voted on each section to say, change it. We were sort of voting on each section to then, when it was all completed, we would then vote on the whole package.
Right.
Which is, you know what I mean? So you're probably seeing the changes in one pile and the original version of the HR policy in another.
Well, I referred to some minutes where the
Yeah.
board did vote to accept the changes as presented
Right.
and say it may be section, 6 through 10.
Right.
And I have to believe that those changes that are attached to the minutes are what were approved. However, there are other versions in my office that are different from what was approved by the Board of Selectmen. When I look at the electronic copy,
Right.
not all the changes are there.
Right.
So it's just not clear to me.
I think
What was trying to be accomplished.
My concern is that I'm working with the correct document
Yeah,
on the
I get it.
computer.
Yeah.
I think we all would like to see a complete cut
Copy.
that we can go through
Updated.
end to end one time and be done.
Yeah.
As opposed to dribbling out a paragraph here.
I'm certainly making efforts to
I understand.
look at this. It does take
No,
some
oh,
time.
yeah, of course.
And then particularly when it refers to a statute, I'm researching the statute to see if
Sure.
there's been any updated
Makes sense,
changes
yeah.
to it.
Yeah, it's a time-consuming effort.
So what you're looking to do is to when there's consultation with the board, it's one time, it's at the end for the finished product.
Right. Finished staff work.
And makes perfect sense as far as I'm concerned,
Thank you, Marlene.
Okay.
really.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we won't do anything with this, then we'll just,
Table that for now.
okay.
The only thing I would say about that is I think the reason we started to do it the way we did was just because of the size of the document, and it was trying to go at it piece by piece and then have the final product. I mean, I truly don't care, other than when it's finally done. I don't know how long it's going to take to go page by page, section by section with you and the three of us, and whoever else is going to be part of that conversation, if anybody. So that is the reason we were sort of doing it
By section.
by section.
And that makes sense. It makes sense to do that. And I'm fine with doing it
But
that
I
way.
mean, I don't, it doesn't matter to me either. I mean, it was to be able to sort of go by section, make the changes, have the discussion, and then say, okay, section 12 through 15 are done,
Right.
and then move on to the next one. So that's,
And then I would expect that those changes that were accepted would be incorporated into.
well, I've got to say that I'm not sure I'm not sure that's how we were doing it last time. I think we were approving the section as it was, waiting for the whole document to come back and then say, okay, now we are approving.
Okay.
So that's what I was trying to say. I think that's why you're seeing some different information in different locations. So for example, if we were to, in the past, if we were to vote on this tonight, it wasn't the new way of doing it. It was going to be voted on to be part of the new package that would be coming forth.
Okay.
So I'm sure that's where the confusion's coming from, that you're seeing some different things. So I would say whatever makes your life easier is okay with me.
Okay.
There is
That's
one
the bottom
thing.
line.
that we did change the performance reports for staff, direct reports,
Calendar.
to a calendar year to close out 31 December, such that they could then influence potentially
Right.
pay considerations in the operating
In
budget for approval the following
Yeah,
May,
that makes sense to do that.
as opposed to having them at the end of the fiscal year and then everything was kind of late.
Right.
So we did
That part
choose-
was changed,
We did
yeah.
change that part.
Yep.
Okay.
Which means in the next
Right.
in the next 8 or 9 weeks, the end of the calendar year is when the appraisal process should begin for
Right.
the employees.
Employees, yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Topic number 9, please keep in mind, we're talking about the process, we're not talking about individuals.
Understand.
Just an update on the fire chief search. The screening committee is going to be meeting on October 21st, 27th, and 28th. They're going to be interviewing 9 candidates, and they do expect to have named some finalists for the Board of Selectmen by the end of October.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there intent to present the finalists in a specific order, the top and then middle, or are they just submitting the 3 finalist names?
I believe just the 3 finalist names.
Names, right,
I haven't
okay.
had a conversation with them about how they would present it, but they've said they would submit 3 names. at
3
least
names,
3
yeah.
names.
I think maybe you should check with them as regards that particular part of the process, what their intent is. I'm not sure that it's in the board's best interest to have them prioritizing the 3 finalists. It kind of ties the hands of the board.
No, well,
So just so that's clear, submit 3 names, and then that's it, or 3 names prioritized, no matter who those candidates are. I'm not in favor of the latter. I'm certainly in favor of the former. And then it will be up to the board, my 2 colleagues, and in the case of rule of necessity, then I would have to be part of the process. And that counsel has already made clear.
Well, yes, I believe he addressed that in
Yeah, he did.
his letter.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, the rule of necessity comes in only as an absolute last resort.
Resort.
It couldn't-
Absolutely, no
something-
question about that at all.
one of us
You're
got
absolutely
killed or
right.
something, or,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, it's important from the point of view, you don't want to have to go through this whole process all over again.
you know, understand.
That doesn't make any sense at all. It's a waste of everybody's time.
Don't intend to.
Pardon me?
No, we don't intend to. Relocation?
Relocation of the cable TV studio, just waiting for the notice of award to come back to the town. Legal counsel has approved the contract, and the board had voted to approve that contract, subject to any recommended changes by council. So I have received that, and the chairman has signed off on the contract. And that will be mailed out to Matt Wilcox.
Okay.
The other item I have is the Franklin Regional Transit Authority bus service update. I had a telephone conversation today with the administrator there at FRTA. And Pat, just, if you get a chance, you should have received an advisory packet in the mail for the September meeting. And
No,
there's
I did not.
information in there. You did not receive it?
No, the only thing I got is the notice of when the meetings are held.
Okay. Okay, they said that there was an advisory packet sent out to the representatives in September. So he had said it was mailed to you, but there's some information in there that I'd like, but what I'll do is
I'll check through my stuff to be to be especially careful.
I can also contact him and ask him to scan it and email it to me. They have agreed that there will be 2 stops, in Hatfield. Unfortunately, there's been a little bit of a setback in the process. There is a proposed path that Danko with the Hampshire Orthopedics had suggested. They're still trying to work that out and confirm whether there will be a path. There will be a shelter at the intersection of Route 5 and 10 and Pantry Road. Franklin Regional Transit Authority has an operations team that will meet with the representatives of the state with DOT District 2 to go out and determine who owns the land where that shelter will be placed. And there will also be a shelter on Danko's property. At this point, they're not looking at putting down the cement until spring because of, the weather at this point.
Oh, so they're talking about a little
They're talking-
walkway from
Right.
the,
Danko, the representative at Danko and the representative of Hampshire Orthopedics had talked about putting in a path that needs to be confirmed.
okay.
Anybody that's out there flagging the bus down, it will stop to pick them up. They know we're anxious to advertise those locations, but at this point, they don't expect the signs or the shelters to be in place until the spring.
Snails are faster than a speeding bullet.
You took the
when
words right out of
it
my
comes
mouth.
to progress on stops of FRTA in Hatfield.
I'm firm believers in not rushing the process.
Jeepers
I
creepers.
mean, this has at least been 2 years.
I have a number of old business items that have come up, if I may address those. I did mean to add the payment in lieu of tax agreement to my report, but that certainly qualifies for old business. I spoke with a member at the Springfield Office Bureau of Local Assessment in hoping to acquire a template that they may use or recommend. The gentleman I spoke with, Joe Barbary, is going to put me in touch with our Hatfield's representative, Sandra Brusso. I have not heard from her, but he said that he would pass along to her that I was interested in some type of template, and if they do have something, he's not aware of it, but they would certainly share that with me. And he just, reminded me that there's 2 forms of property tax. One is strictly for the land, which would be with the owner of the property. And then the second tax would be the personal property, which would be the equipment and any improvements to the property, and that would fall under the payment in lieu of tax agreement. So that's still work in progress. Following up to the Smith Academy Park, adjacent to Town Hall, I provided you with a copy of communication from the Open Space Committee. They will be submitting a community preservation application for renovations to the park.
Make sure, this is also a CIPC item because it has an operational tail to it, so make sure that DPW gets a
It's a
copy.
copy of that. Yeah. The other item I have is, there was some
Well,
discussion.
just for towns, what we're talking about is the park immediately adjacent, a proposal to turn over the space from the Smith Academy trustees to the town of Hatfield, subsequently to be maintained by the Department of Public Works in lieu of the trustees of Smith Academy. And they've got the design, they've worked all that, so.
Recognizing that the board has just received this tonight, we can certainly, you'd like some time to review it, we can discuss it at a future meeting. If you have any questions or additional information you'd like to
Sure.
receive from the Open Space Committee. The Library Building Committee was listed on the town clerk's list of vacant positions, and I researched as to whether those positions, or that committee had been dissolved. There was a question about that. It was presented to the Board of Selectmen, I believe is that March of this year, Key, or last year? I don't recall, but it was March. There was to be communication with the town clerk office about it. Apparently that did not happen. So I would ask the board to vote tonight that we, to dissolve that committee. They clearly presented to the selectmen at a prior meeting that there was no need for that committee to remain active.
Oh, okay.
This is the Library Building
Yeah.
Committee. And so I can notify the town clerk, she needs to have a record from the selectmen that they no longer, that committee no longer exists.
I don't challenge your comment, I just don't remember them saying, I think Elijah was here, is that who we're talking about?
Eliza was here at that meeting
I
with
know the
board.
project's on hold, and it's in the queue for a grant,
Mm-hmm.
but it's on hold. So I guess the building itself,
Oh, I didn't realize I thought they were withdrawing their plans for,
no, they've essentially asked to be held in place in the sequence. There's a number of folks that have been awarded,
Mm-hmm.
and each year as dollars come up and as communities accept, somebody gets an award. They've asked to be just kind of held off to the side
in advance.
for the moment.
Maybe
Okay.
we should just get clarification.
Yeah, we'll be glad to just clarify with Elijah that we,
I did actually talk to
Oh,
her.
okay,
And,
all right.
and she said that it was her understanding
Okay.
that the committee had been dissolved.
okay, that's fine then. And is there a motion
But
to?
the town clerk doesn't have a record of
All right,
that.
is there a motion to dissolve the Library Building Committee?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah, I just want, so we're doing this with the understanding that currently there's no need for it.
That's correct.
But certainly in the future, if a committee needs to be formed, then.
Thank you, Brian. I didn't want the
Then
feeling out there
just-
is that
Yeah.
we were initiating this
Right,
action.
right, I just,
Well,
yeah.
the
right,
Marlene,
per the
town administrator
information
just
from the librarian.
just
then-
confirmed
yep.
that
So when they're ready to move that to the
back onto
forefront,
the,
yeah, that,
They'll inform
Recommend
you,
the
and then
committee.
you'll
Right.
inform the board, and
yeah.
we'll move forward from
They
there.
would do that.
Yep.
So it's not necessarily off the table.
Okay.
no, as far as I know, I thought we were just being asked to be on hold. Just,
That was my understanding previously, anyway, when Susan was on the board. And that's, I think, when that whole process began, thereabouts. And you get moved up depending on who gets the award or awards. And there were towns or cities at that point in time that solidified their position by saying they simply wanted to wait and rather than hold up for somebody else. And that's what we're doing at this point. Am I
Well,
reading
we
you
should
correctly?
know that. We should know that. So I will contact Eliza and just confirm where the project is at. And
Yeah, before I make a final vote as to process, let's see exactly what the situation is with the library and the trustees. You know, where their sense is they are in the scheme of things outside of our control.
Well, what Marlene is saying, she's had that communication with Eliza.
Eliza was very
And-
clear that the committee had been dissolved. It was
Confirmed
her
that-
understanding that the committee.
Confirm that there's no longer a requirement for the building committee.
Right. But I want to confirm the status of the project or the building.
Yeah,
what
get a
their
final
needs-
clarification as to where the whole process is at.
All right, well,
Seems
if
to make
there's- if there's
sense.
unease,
We can just, you
we-
can withdraw
it's
the
not
motion.
critical.
Withdraw the motion.
No, I'm
And
okay
then we'll
with
just wait
seconding
till
the
next, well, then we can wait till next meeting to.
next meeting we'll have
dissolve. It's just a
clarification.
matter of dissolving it for Lydia's records, right? I mean, is that,
That's right.
or not dissolving it if in fact we get some other information, so.
Okay, we'll just
Yeah,
table
we
it.
get a final clarification, then
And then we
next
can
meeting, we can vote to,
Sure.
you know, in
That's fine.
compliance with what she's looking for.
Right.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion is withdrawn.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
sure.
And you're going to just clarify kind of the status of,
I will. There is a vacancy on the Emergency Management Committee, and with the recent resignation of Les Labarge, the Historical Committee, you should have in front of you letters of interest from Ed Lesko to serve the Historical Commission and Emergency Management Committee.
I'll make a motion to appoint Ed Lesko to the Emergency Management Committee.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any other discussion?
No, It's
All
got a
in
lot of
favor?
experience on it, so that's great. Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve appointment of Mr. Lesko to the Historical Commission, Vice?
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
And just, I think I brought it up at the previous meeting, the energy grant report is due the end of this year, so I am working on getting that taken care of. I did submit a report in August, and that was revised. There was information that I didn't have on file. There were projects that have closed out and had not been reported to the state.
So the only thing is the information from Guardian regarding the elementary school?
Right, and I did receive that late
And
this afternoon.
the heating system at the...
Heating system at the highway garage is complete. I've
you've got
signed off
everything
on that.
Okay, okay, great.
I just they'll come out and do an inspection.
All right.
And need to put the final report together and file it with the state.
Okay.
And that is all I have.
Just one other thing, getting close to operating budget time and
Mm-hmm.
call letter for instructions for that.
I was going to send a letter out the 1st of December, unless
Okay.
the board would like it sooner than that.
That's
I
fine.
was going to, okay.
We're racing toward it. Hazard mitigation plan,
I spoke with Cindy Doty today, and
we know they drafted
that
one.
is in the hands of Pioneer Valley Planning Commission.
Okay,
And PVPC has advised Cindy Doty, the fire chief, that between PVPC finishing up with it and it going to the state could take 2 months. But before it does go to the state, it will come here to the
Okay.
Board of Selectmen.
well, that
Yeah, that makes,
makes more sense than what I heard earlier. That makes a lot more sense. But is that timely to make us competitive
Eligible
for
for-
grants?
According to Cindy, it will make us eligible for grants in the spring.
Okay, 2 months
It's a long
for
time.
what needs to be done seems like a long time.
Oh, I was surprised that PVPC still had it, because we finished up with it, I think,
And
in
they had a public hearing and
August.
Right.
Right.
completed all that, yeah, that's what I mean.
Was it
We don't
August
want
or
to, we don't want to
September
miss a
they
whole
hear?
nother cycle on
It was a while.
potential grants.
Yeah,
All right, so it's in work, all right.
it is.
The meeting was at the end of August.
August, that's what I
Yeah.
thought, that final, the public
Public
hearing.
meeting,
That
yeah,
was, yes,
public
so
hearing.
that's why I was surprised to hear
And there were
that
no significant
PVPC
events at the public hearing, so that's why I'm surprised it takes another 2 months, but understand. Anything else? Gentlemen,
Well,
All set.
motion to adjourn?
So move.
second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No question about that.